Holy moly. I'm going to be out of words today. It's an abysmal display, both by the management and the players. I'm going to try and be positive. I know a lot of you like positivity, but fucking hell, it's not going to happen today. Got some good guests today. We've got a debut as well. And unfortunately, that debut is not going to be a happy one. But listen, we'll get into the nitty gritty. We'll talk about as much as we can, and we'll see you on the other side.
Click subscribe to get daily Manchester United content from passionate Reds, only on All for United.
Christ almighty, I need to see what each and every one of you have to say. I'm just going to go through some of the comments. We just started, bro, but thanks for your usual. Obviously, I would have thought you'd seen the game. Ollie out, as simple as that. Back four was a shambles. That was a huge problem today. One thing I will say actually is Fred, I felt a bit sorry for him today. I think he was completely swamped in that midfield. Ran round absolutely ragged and yeah, it wasn't his fault. I think massive defensive issues. We are not happy at all. Lots of Ollie out. There's going to be a big debate tonight on Uncut later on. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit more. I think I've probably lost my patience now, unfortunately, and I think it could be a really big problem now. Stuart O'Hara, good to see you back, buddy. It's been a little while. Evening, lads. Black day. John Maguire, good to see you back on, buddy. Come over to YouTube, get your comments in, get some debate going and all the lot on YouTube. This is the hardest ever I've seen United. My United were battered. Why did Ollie play this team from Wednesday? Again, well, yeah, we're going to go into that in a moment. Time's up. We'll discuss Ollie at 10 p.m. Focus on the game itself for now. Yeah, I've just gone through that. So Connor, awful. Talk to me about what you saw, how you feel, and where did it go wrong?
Well, I feel like I did after the Europa League final. Like I said in my tweet, I'm not even really... It's going to sound annoyed, and the more this show goes on, I'm going to get more and more pissed off because Ollie, I feel so sorry for Ollie. People don't. People want him out, whatever. You have your own opinions, which is fine. But I feel those players fucking let him down today. Pogba is an absolute disgrace. Fucking comes on to everyone who fucking banter me. Oh, you saying Pogba couldn't play in the midfield? Oh, he's this, he's that. Fucking, you saw what he does today. Too slow on the fucking ball, and look what bloody happens. Shaw and Maguire, another reason why I hate internationals, look fucking shattered ever since the Euros, and look what they've fucking happened this year. I feel like the players have just given up on coaching, which is fine. Well, it's not fine. It's a fucking disgrace, really, when you think about it. But I feel
it's not fine, but it's understandable, I think.
Yeah, and the thing is, I for the first time, like, whatever, call me what you want, but that's the first time I've looked at Ollie and gone, what are you trying to do? Like, we're trying to high press a team like that. Like, why did he think that was a good idea? Now, whether he didn't tell the players to do that and that's what they did, I don't know. I don't really care at the moment, to be honest. But I just think, yes, people are going to criticize the manager. Yes, everyone's going to want him out and all these kind of things, but do not let these fucking players off the hook. Roy Keane was bang on about this group of players. What they did to Jose, and they do exactly the same to Ollie, and that's exactly what they've done. So, yeah, that's my brief thing on it. We can go into each individual goal if you want. I mean, Maguire and Shaw for the second one, I think. I can't really remember the first one.
I think Shaw was quite fallible for the first three, at least.
Yeah, the first one.
Let me move on to Struan, mate. Let me just move on to Struan. Good to see you, buddy. I'm so sorry it's under these circumstances. Lovely to see you, buddy. I was on a show with him the other week. Really articulate, really good. Yeah, talk to me, buddy. What happened?
Thanks for having me on, and I'm just sorry that this is the game to have me on. Coming into this game, I was worried about what would happen in terms of the players' attitudes and stuff like that, because I was always, the whole week, this past week, I've been thinking back to the 3-1 defeat under Jose Mourinho And for me, that was the clear indication that Jose was done and we were going to move on at that point. But what I saw today, I just didn't envisage. I just can't believe what happened. To be honest, when Bruno skied that chance, I was thinking in the back of my mind, we might actually get something from this game. Liverpool were missing Fabinho. I thought there's maybe an opportunity here for us to take something from it. But ever since the Liverpool scored the first one, it was just ridiculous. Defensively a shambles. The stats were coming up before halftime. We were 20th for tackles made in the box, 18th for clean sheets in the Premier League so far. It's absolutely ridiculous. And Rafael Varane has only been in the team for a couple of months, and you can already see how much of a difference he makes. It's so hard to describe what's happened, because just watching it, you don't really know what's going on in that changing room, what those players have been told, what's happening, because it was the same back four that we played last season, and it just doesn't look right at all. It doesn't look like they've ever played together. That second goal where Shaw and Maguire sort of came together reminded me so much of the game against Spurs last season, where Shaw and Maguire sort of bumped into each other in the box. It just looked like the players had no idea who each other were at times. It was just a shambles, to be honest.
Shambles, a word that's being used a lot today, and you're absolutely right. Thank you very much, Drew. And Keane, I'm glad you've made it. We had a really bad show last time when I was hosting, and you came on, and that was a 4-2 loss against Liverpool last season. And I didn't think we'd be here today. I said to Connor before the show, he said the same thing. He felt quite confident. I felt that way today, but that was appalling, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, last year is dejected but surprised. This year, dejected but not surprised, because this performance has been happening week after week after week, where there's no cohesion. It's a team of individuals. There's no collective performance there. And look, again, that happened today, but except this time you come up against a very good team in Liverpool who are ruthless up front, and you have the best player in the world at the moment, the Mo Salah up there. You give him chances, he's going to score. And look, some of that defending today was just absolutely criminal, to say the least. The whole team, manager, everything's just criminal today. For so long I've supported Ole, and I've really gone out on a limb for him, but today I simply can't do it. And Ole, the players, everybody, they've all let the fans down today. Every single last one of them.
Yeah, listen, about the fans actually today, I'm going to be honest. I understand the frustration, but there was a lot of fans walking out today, and I just don't feel that that's something I could do personally. I feel that you need to be able to go there and see it out to the end, and that's a little bit disappointing for me, but understandable, as I said. Fred, thanks for coming back on, buddy. Again, sorry it's not under better circumstances, but do you share the same thoughts as everybody else? Pogba red card as well. That's something we'll go into a little bit more, deservedly. I think you sort of on a couple of occasions saw Bruno and I can't remember who else it was do the same sort of thing, got away with it, and they were just trying to break up the play and do something for the team. But yeah, tell me your thoughts, Brian.
Yeah, look, I mean, it was coming. I think today's result was coming. We've been experiencing this against teams that are half their potential as Liverpool, unfortunately. The same issues week in, week out. I'd like to see how many goals in recent matches have come from our left side, Maguire and Shaw. Nothing. We just haven't learnt our lessons. I think Connor was spot on. The players just haven't taken responsibility for their performances in recent weeks. The manager, look, it's not ideal. I just feel that Ole's succumbed to media pressure, in which he's trying to play a pressing game where we haven't got the right players to press. That's not the style he's shown in the 3 years he's been here. We're a play deep, play on the counter team. That's where we had so much success with that against the big teams last year, and he's just thrown that out the window. And all this Ronaldo doesn't press from the front. He just seems to have completely been swayed by that, and it just doesn't work. We've got the wrong players to implement that type of style. I mean, the defence, I agree again with Connor. I mean, I don't know if it's international football or what. I mean, Shaw and Maguire should be dropped. I mean, the amount of goals that have come from the left side, we've got Telles and Bailly. Ole's moaned about not having a quality enough bench, yet he's not showing that ruthless streak and dropping players who are just playing poorly. And this was always going to happen against probably the most informed team in the world at the moment, Liverpool. And it just, regarding fans leaving, it just doesn't sit right with me, especially against Liverpool. You've got to support the team regardless of the score. It was just a complete shit show, really, from minute one.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I can't disagree with any. I can't find a positive, one positive at all. And you know what? I'll be honest. I don't think Liverpool were even at their best today. I think we actually made them look far better. I thought that after the first 2 goals, we actually pressed very, very well. But our defence is such a shambles at the moment. We weren't able to protect anything and obviously conceded a few more. Marcus, great to have you on, mate. It's been a little while. Yeah, give me your thoughts on that, mate.
Yeah, I think today's result, it was difficult to analyse it. I mean, when you go 3-0 down against Liverpool, you start to think, when did Norwich change their kit? Because we looked like an absolute shambles there. And I think it's easy to get frustrated and look at individual performances. It's easy to take out your frustration on one particular person or this player or that player, but I don't buy into the excuse that Luke Shaw and Maguire, they should get a free ride because they had a tough time with the Euros. For me personally, I've been saying this for weeks now. If Shaw and Maguire are not fit and they're not up to the races, why they're starting? We have a very big squad, and it's time for us to start using that squad. And the irony about people saying that these players were not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I actually think he picked this team because this is the team he trusts. I think he picks McFred because he thinks McFred is the pair that he can trust because they will do what he wants, whereas he doesn't feel the same way with Pogba and Matic and Donny, So it's ironic that this particular lineup and this particular group of players is the one that's had one of our worst results under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's a real head scratcher because when I saw that lineup, I wasn't happy with it, but I was like, okay, I can understand it. We saw the resilience against Atalanta. We saw that they were able to come back even though there were changes in the second half. But today, I just saw nothing. And even the high press, again, like usually that's a positive thing. Usually when our coaches try something new, we're like, yeah, this is what we want to see. We want to see us actually press up high. But to do it against a team of the quality of Liverpool, where something you haven't practiced, it's just, again, like, where was this against the smaller teams? Where was this against the teams that were playing a low block? Why didn't we press teams where it would have actually made sense? Why go up against one of the best teams in the league and suddenly decide to do something new? It doesn't make sense. Honestly, I think this game was symbolic of all our problems, really.
Yeah, absolutely, and you're absolutely right. Actually, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. I'm just gonna go through some comments, and I'll come back to your point that you made. Lots of angry comments today, expected, but lots of Ole out. The manager is the problem. Ole out. Do not get me started on Maguire. He has been really poor this season, completely void of what we saw last season, completely against the grain. Ole out is shambolic. I don't want to be Ole out. I don't want to concentrate on that, but obviously, understandably, people are going to be very angry today, and I need to obviously show some of these comments. Joe saying that obviously we gave Liverpool the win today. I think you're absolutely right. I think we were so poor that we did. I think actually Liverpool could have played or on their day could have been absolutely scintillating and scored probably 8, 9, 10. And we did give them the lifeline on a number of occasions. You know what? I think this we've spoken about this a few times. Varane is a huge miss for us, and it's amazing what one player can do. But under how they are at the moment and how lifeless they are and how probably embarrassed and upset and the way that they feel, I can't imagine that one player is going to come back and change that. Absolutely ridiculous. You're right, actually, Marcus, as you said, we sat back against the bigger teams last season and the season before and played counter-attacking football, and we didn't see that. And today, Ole, because of the negativity surrounding the club at the moment, I think wanted to show that we wanted to press, we wanted to win, but I don't think that was the right way to go about it. We should have sat back and then got them on the counter, and we should be playing like that against the lesser clubs. Connor, coming back to you, mate, do you agree with that? Do you think that we kind of we went against what we're normally used to seeing and played it the wrong way today?
Well, yeah, I hope everyone who said I'd rather watch us play attacking football and lose, I hope they're all fucking happy with themselves because, well, we are. We had chances again today. We're playing on the front foot. We're trying to press. You know, I'm going to use that word trying because, hang on, let me turn my TV off. I don't really care what they're saying. You know, we're trying to do the press, which is what people want. We're trying to play on the front foot, which is what people want. And all I fucking heard was, oh, let's just play attacking football. I'd rather that and lose than play boring football like we did at times against the top six last year. And you know how many draws we got against the top six? We were 0-0 in and 1-1 and all those kind of results. But at least we weren't getting battered 5-0. So, yes, I think Ollie got it wrong. And that's where he does deserve criticism. And he'll probably lose his job over it. And well, no, not probably. He will lose his job over it. But I go back to it, and I've seen so many people coming at me already on Twitter. You know, the players are getting away with it. The manager's getting away with it. You're just blaming the players. Well, what is Ollie supposed to do once they pass that white line? It's on the players then. No, I'm pretty sure Ollie's not saying, "Oh, Maguire, make this mistake. Sure, don't pick up Salah." He's not going to be telling them that, is he? So the players have to take responsibility. I know people are annoyed. I'm annoyed at Ollie for getting what I feel like he got wrong today, but what I meant, I just want to clarify what I said earlier. When I said don't let the players off the hook, because they've thrown him under the bus today, and nothing hurt me more when I was watching Ollie stood on the sideline today, just on his own, while all the players, you got Pogba walking off smiling after getting a red card. You've got fucking all these players, laughing, joking around on the sideline. Do me a favour. Yes, Ollie got it wrong, but those players need to take a big, hard look at themselves and ultimately, he will probably lose his job over it. But yeah, back to your original question. Yes, I think he got it wrong. The players, we just don't have the players to do that system that he wanted to do. But it's like I said, it's what the fans wanted. You know, the fans wanted us to play on the front foot in bigger games, can try and control the game. And that's the outcome. We don't have the players to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I do agree with what you're saying. Actually, I do think that this is not a good basis to talk about this about, but fans do seem to want a certain thing. Will always find a hole within something. You see, better football probably wasn't the right way to play today, and then they will find something else. And I didn't even see with the sending off, I was sorting something else out at the time. I didn't even see any smile from Pogba because I didn't see it, and that to me is a little bit disrespectful. Not because it's Pogba, but obviously there is some real issues there, and maybe the players aren't playing for the club or for the manager at the moment. Struan, would you agree with that? Do you think that the players just looked a little bit lifeless today, didn't they? I think obviously they didn't help themselves in the first sort of 13 minutes, 2-0 down, and then after that you could just see their whole demeanour about how they looked. At certain points they just looked so off the pace.
One thing that I've always sort of maintained with Solskjaer is I feel a lot of the players want to play for him, and I feel he's a very good man manager. We've seen a lot of players hit their best form, some of the best football under Solskjaer, and I've always said, tactically he might not be up there, but his man management has been excellent. And there have been so many occasions, especially last season, where we were 1-0 down, we were 2-0 behind, and we came back and we got draws, we won those games, and you could see a real spirit in the team. And I felt those are players who are fighting for Solskjaer, even in midweek, 2-0 down to Atalanta. But today it just didn't seem like that at all. It just seemed that as soon as the first goal went in, heads were down. It was almost as if the players were questioning it themselves. I mean, Pogba got sent off, but I think we could have seen about 3 or 4 red cards, to be honest, as well for us. The Ronaldo kicking the ball sort of reminded me of Eden Hazard. Fred had a bit of a high boot as well later on. There were a few occasions. Maguire's late challenge as well on Curtis Jones was it he brought down just in the edge of the area. There's a few occasions where you could say, there could be red cards there, and it just didn't look like the players were there at the time. It looked like they'd given up. And Pogba, what was he, 15 minutes on the pitch getting sent off? That's the substitute that you're trying to change the game. And within seconds, the game was never going to be back at that point 5-0 down. But you could at least finish with 11 people on the pitch.
Yeah, it just went from bad to worse, didn't it? And I thought that challenge was pretty terrible, really, and probably deservedly so. Sent off, obviously overturned a yellow card, really. Just going to read a few more comments out, and I'll come to you next, Keane. I hate to say it, but if Ollie resigns, I will feel relieved. I love Ollie, but I love United even more. We can't continue down on this downward slope. It hurts so much. My manager, and you know what? I think it was you, Connor, that was saying in the chat before that he was interviewed, or there were images of him, and he looks like someone that probably may resign. Obviously, we'll try and go into more detail on this tonight. But yeah, it's really painful to watch. He's obviously done an excellent job. Man's management, as Struan alluded to a moment ago, is 100% there. But I just, for me, it's been a very negative couple of weeks, and even I've started to feel doubt towards Ollie. Never Ollie out, but certainly Ollie doubt, and very painful. Question for you, Keane. We've spoken about this a few times in another chat. If Ollie goes, who would you like to see replace him?
Talk about who's available, and you have to talk about who's suitable for the football club. Look, I think a lot of people are calling for Antonio Conte right now, and look, to be honest, short term would be, he'd win trophies or whatever, but we'd be left in a Jose Mourinho situation again, where the club would be pulled apart, and whoever comes in after that would leave us in kind of, I suppose, a bad situation. For me, I go for Zidane. For me, he's able to deal with big egos. There's a lot of big egos in that dressing room. He'll demand very good standards, big standards. Look, he's probably someone who's out there who's available, who we won't have to pay too much to get in. Like if you're looking for a Rodgers or if you're looking for a Ten Hag, you're going to have to pay big money to either Leicester or Ajax, which, look, this club, we all know the Glazers, they're tight bastards anyway. So, like, they're not going to do that. They're going to go for the easiest option, financially. So, of who's available, Zidane will be the one for me. But, look, there's another manager available, basically. Steve Bruce is there. So, look, the Glazers, another United legend. There'd be goodwill there. You know yourself. They'd probably do something like that.
Listen, I know you're being funny, but I couldn't handle that one. Listen, I feel sorry for Steve Bruce and how Newcastle handled that, but that's definitely not the option that we should be going for. Yeah. Just to read out a few more. John Silk, good to see you, buddy. Would love to get you back on the show again soon. Feel desperately sad for Ollie. No lack of effort from him to turn this club around. Whether he goes this week or next, I do wonder what contingency plans are already in place. It's a good point. I'm hurting. It's painful. Worst performance I've ever witnessed as a Man United supporter. Been supporting our club since 1987 and will continue to do so. We'll never die. I think one of my worst today is definitely one of them, but the 6-1 against City. I think Keane mentioned this earlier, but I think the difference is obviously Alex Ferguson was with us then. We were used to winning week in, week out, and whilst the 6-1 was something unheard of and wasn't nice to see, I think we were okay. We were able to pick ourselves back up again. What a day, man. I am not watching Match of the Day, and I'm not going to be... oh, man, at least Salah got me some points from the goals anyway, but there you go. People weren't like that. Fred, you wanted to continue about the manager. Talk to me.
Yeah, look, it's all well and true saying Ollie out and, he needs to go after this game, but the point is there's no ready-made alternative, unfortunately. Like right now, we're in October. We've got nearly 3/4 of a season left. The two managers that are available, Zidane and Conte, I don't know, are they suitable for this club? I mean, Conte, you know what you're going to get. Short-termism, 5 at the back. We've got Rashford, Sancho. We've spent a lot of money on wide players. That wouldn't fit into his system. He's very fiery. He's going to clash with the Glazers. Are the Glazers willing to appoint someone like that? Zidane, I mean, I don't think anyone knows if Zidane's actually a good manager. I mean, yes, he's won 4 Champions League with an incredible Real Madrid side, but people forget he left, came back, and had a very unsuccessful second stint with a depleting squad, and he was unable to sort of fulfill their ambitions at that point.
I think, just to interrupt quickly, Fred, I think my problem is between those two is you're absolutely right about Zidane. He has obviously done some great things, but he had the players there at Real Madrid, lots of money invested. I do think he would be the better option for me, only because I think he would obviously get the most out of these players, obviously has a connection with Ronaldo. Conte, for me, I really don't want at the club. Would be a short-term thing. We need a little bit of longevity, but I think you'd probably see a lot of players go out the door. And I feel that what Ollie's done from that perspective, the players that we've brought in, regardless of obviously the what we've seen today, are the right ones, and it just needs maybe 1 or 2, 3, maybe more. Yeah. And I just think that it's just going to be a complete rebuild again.
I think the consensus when Ollie took over was that he's going to be the person that stabilizes the club, and build it for the next manager. Whether that his tenure's up and we need to appoint that person now, probably right. Looks after today's result, certainly. But I think there's just that person. It's just, you're not going to get that person now. I mean, ideally, if this was at the end of the season, okay, you could then, I don't know, you've got Ten Hag, even Pochettino, these guys sort of favour 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3 systems. So you've got a better chance, but they're not available at the moment. So it's all well and true saying Ollie out, but you sack him today, there's two people on the plate that probably aren't. I hear what you say about Zidane. I think his sample size is just too small. If we don't know if he's going to get the best out of this current crop, maybe Ronaldo Varane because of Madrid, but it's all hypothetical, as it is with every managerial appointment. But you sack Ollie now. What's going to happen? Is Michael Carrick going to take charge for the immediate future of the rest of the season, possibly until we can get someone for the long term? Because we're not Chelsea. We're not someone who just churns out managers. We'll give the manager 2-3 years time to embed their squad, but any new manager, if you get the appointment wrong, they are going to strip this squad to its bare bones in terms of what Ollie's done, and we're going to have to go through that whole transition again. Best case scenario, we try and get the right manager whose system fits the style of players we've got, because this squad is so near the end. What really annoys me is last summer we had a window to forget. If we got a midfielder last summer, who knows? It could have been a different season thus far. I mean, we've had a great summer this window, but people just forget last season. Yes, we signed Donny, Telles, Cavani. There was all question marks around them. Most of them haven't played. Cavani was probably a panic signing. But ultimately, the problem is deeper than the manager at this club. It's the owners. It's Woodward, which is quite well documented. But if they actually gave a crap about the footballing side of things, we wouldn't be in this mess. They've just sort of watched and sort of accepted mediocrity for so long. They've let the player. It's not. I totally agree with Connor. This isn't just a managerial problem. The players as well. How do they? Once you pass that white line, you've got to manage yourselves on the field. And these guys are experienced pros. They're all internationals. Most of them, Pogba's won the World Cup. We know Ronaldo's credentials, but they're just not doing it on the field. There's only so much you can blame the manager. I'm not. Look, I'll be the last person to fully go out and defend Ollie. He's got a lot of faults. There's evidently a lot of coaching deficiencies at the club, but it's not just getting rid of the manager is not going to fully solve the issues that we have. There's a player issue, and unfortunately, until we replace these owners, we're not going to win anything or progress and compete with the likes of Liverpool and City, unfortunately.
Yeah, fair points. Just seen a point here from Jarvis. The only option is Laurent Blanc. He's currently managing Al Rayyan's SC in Qatar and should be available if we give him the right offer. It's plausible. It's actually a good option. I know there was talked about him a few years ago. Listen, I don't want to talk about the manager situation so much. As I said, this is going to be spoken about on Uncut later. I want to try and stick to obviously the game. There were thoughts midweek, Marcus, Matic, if he obviously can't play 2 games a week, but maybe he would have been a better option. I know hindsight is a wonderful thing, but I personally would have had Matic or would have had Van der Beek in the middle and then Bruno still. But do you think McTominay and Fred, were they an issue today? Do you think they should have covered the back four a little bit better?
My answer might shock a lot of people, but a few weeks ago I used to think that. And then I saw Donny and Matic play against West Ham in the Carabao Cup. And then I saw Matic and Pogba play recently. I forget who it was because we've had so many bad results
Everton.
in such a short space of time. Yeah, it was Everton. I used to think that. But now I'm starting to think that it almost doesn't matter who starts in the midfield pivot. And again, I don't mean to bring it back to the manager because I'm not just talking about Ollie. I'm talking about the coaches below him now. Because McKenna, Phelan, Carrick, they've all got to take just as much of the criticism as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I just don't see anything or any bit of evidence that makes me think, okay, it's clearly just the players. Because we've seen Matic, we've seen Pogba, we've seen Matic, we've seen Donny, we've seen other people play in the midfield pivots, and we've seen equally bad performances. We've also seen McFred more often than not, and we still see the same performances. So I'm almost starting to believe it doesn't matter unless we change something systematically and change something. I don't know what it is, but if we don't change something, it won't make a difference. Because I look at that Liverpool team today, I don't see how Matic solves the problem. Maybe he holds onto the ball better. maybe he gives us more control in terms of the tempo. But when he's getting swarmed on the counter-attack, does he really do anything different to Fred and McTominay? No. And a lot of people have made the argument that the defensive frailties of Matic and Pogba are the reason why he sticks with McFred, because McFred are more trusted defensively. But it's like, yeah, they're not really holding midfielders. So we just go in circles with the McFred arguments. We just go in circles. And I think they're just a symptom of a bigger problem. I think the real problem here is that we don't have a solution to our midfield problem. And is that on the Glazers? I don't know. I personally choose not to talk about the Glazers because what's the point, really? They're not going anywhere anytime soon, you know? And I know that might be really negative, but that's honestly how I feel.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. You're right. There's just been no consistency, even in the last sort of 3, especially 3 years, but 5 at least. And the midfield has been a huge problem. Whatever pairing we seem to have doesn't make a difference. And really, listen, I've always been on the fence. I have. But I do feel that today, I agree with what you said, Connor, with the players. They did look like they weren't playing. They threw them under the bus, as few others have said. But this has got to come down to the coaches and Ollie today. It really has, and you kind of hit that on the nail there, Marcus. John Silt with a really good comment here. Zonal Markins, Michael Cox on Twitter describes United's performance today as probably the worst in the history of the Premier League. It was a humiliation. What are you saying, Connor? Do you agree with that?
Sorry, I've been distracted by some.
Yeah, actually, on that point, I was going to say we've got a lot of animosity, not in the comments, but all over. I'm seeing Twitter, our social chats, and sometimes in the comments too. Try and keep it clean. It's we can all get on, but be frustrated and be able to target whatever it is that needs to be targeting and talk nicely. Anyway, go on, Connor.
Sorry, can you bring that comment back up again from John? I've lost it.
I've lost it as well. There you go.
Yeah, I don't really know what else to add. I agree with what everyone is saying, and I get people's points of view. But I keep going back to it. You can only do so much as a coach and a manager. Ultimately, it's for the players to deliver on that. Now, you can... talking there about zonal marking, and all this kind of stuff. We're a shambles all over the place. It's not set pieces. It's not necessarily midfield. I think Alexi put it right on Sweaty the other day. We've got good defenders can't defend, good midfield can't create, good attack can't score. That's just so what's going wrong? Either the players aren't playing, they're either being told the wrong thing or they're not performing what they're being told. I think it's a bit of both. I think in some games they're being told the wrong thing. In other games like today, I don't think they're putting in the effort, quite honestly. I've spoken to a lot of people that were there today, and all of them are saying the same thing. They don't feel like the players are putting in the effort, which is sad, because ultimately they should be trying, whether you like the manager or not. But this goes for any walk of life. If you in any job, if you don't like the manager, you don't just down tools, and just do your own thing. I don't know what else to say on it, to be honest. I think, I said, you look defensively, we're all over the place. Midfield, you could put any midfield partnership. I actually think McTominay and Fred are probably our better two players today, and I do agree with what you were saying earlier, Mark. I think Fred, I actually felt sorry for him because I do feel like he was getting dragged about all over the place, and they had a difficult job in there today. So if you're looking for kind of positives, it's probably those two. They were the only two players I felt like that actually, there's a bit of an echo going on, that actually fought and actually wanted to try. I'm sure every player in the back of their mind has it somewhere, but all it takes as an athlete, if you've got that little bit of doubt, that little bit of thing in the back of your head going, I'm not really bothered today, and you've got a team like Liverpool that are always going to give 100% and chase you down and all these kind of things, you're going to be in trouble. We had to be at the races today, and we weren't. Forget quality. I sound like Gary Neville here. Forget quality and all this. You've got to try for a start. And that's just where we are at the moment. I just don't think the players are that arsed, if I'm being totally honest. But there we are.
I don't know if I'd give you as much praise as Gary Neville. But fair play. Listen. It was awful all over the pitch, and I'm glad you mentioned about McTominay as well. Actually, I totally forgot about him, but he worked hard as well today, and it was all over the pitch. There's always a conversation about Ronaldo at the moment and pressing from the front, which he doesn't do at all. And I thought well, he obviously had a couple of opportunities, but he was trying to do it all himself today. Obviously, it was much better during midweek against Atalanta after going behind. But even the strikers today, Greenwood, Rashford, I'm not quite sure if he's 100%. He had a couple of opportunities. It's a problem all over the pitch, isn't it, Stu? What did you think of the up front today? I mean, we didn't really provide enough, obviously, but they were pretty void of everything as well.
Yeah, and I think what summed it up a few times was the fact that Ronaldo was out on the left wing putting crosses into the box. You know, he's the man you want in the box on the penalty spot. We saw against Atalanta, you know, he's one of the best headers of the ball in world football. You need him to be in that 6-yard box. And I really want to see Rashford, Sancho, and Ronaldo as a front three. I'm a massive fan of Mason Greenwood, but I just want to see Sancho get played on that right wing. You know, he still hasn't played 90 minutes for us. Yeah, I know this would have been a tough game to throw him in, but I'd still like to see that front three get used. But the attack it looked a little bit all over the shop today. You know, I think tracking back was a big issue as well with the wingers. People, you know, saying that Rashford and Greenwood weren't tracking back enough. And I think you can understand that they weren't always coming back, but they weren't offering much of a threat either. I remember one shot Greenwood had coming in from the right wing, which Alisson palmed away, and I can't remember him doing too much else other than that, to be honest. You know, he sort of came out for the first goal as well, which wasn't great. Rashford's just not really there today. I was quite gutted Ronaldo's goal was ruled out. I know it was nothing more than a consolation, but it was a really nice finish, to be honest. It just sort of added insult to injury, really, the fact that was then ruled out. I don't know what happens because, you know, you think about the options that we've got, that we can keep Cavani on the bench. I mean, I was absolutely desperate for him to sign a new contract last season. I was so happy when he did. His chants are unbelievable.
Yeah,
he's just such a likable player. He's a clear fan favourite. And now I just don't see a scenario where he starts for United again. You know, I love Ronaldo as well, but I don't think we can really fit the two of them into a system. I don't know what Martial's future is. I don't know when he comes in, where he comes in. He scored against Everton, but then he was average for the rest of that game. It's a tough one. But today, we've played the same front three that we played against Atalanta. It worked in the second half. It just didn't work at all for us today, unfortunately. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was the team today was basically what we played last season for the majority, just Ronaldo in for Cavani. But it just didn't work at all, the front three today. Or front four, if I should include Bruno in that as well.
Terrible. I know that Connor's just said to me that Ollie's having his interview now. So if anything comes out of that, Connor, please drop it in a comment or just blurt it out to us. That would be great. John Silk here has been giving some great information today. Thank you, mate. On him being the right man for the job. Ollie said, I've come too far. We've come too far. We're too close now. 3 years in, yes, it's not an overnight job. They need a bit of time. I mean, if it was maybe 2-0, 2-1, then it might have been sort of persevered a little bit and he would be okay to say that. But at what point is enough? And it's a bit of a damning comment, really. Jacob, good to have you back in today. I've just lost your bloody thing. I've come too far. We've come too far as a group and we're too close to give up now. Sir Alex Ferguson, obviously not the real man, but good to have you in, buddy. You can actually say that, too close. What pains me to say is this: the team who taught team chemistry to the world doesn't have one has one of its worst days. The stats can be flattering. Keane, the defence has been a massive issue this season. We know that. We thought that Varane would be a resolution to the problem, and it was. Obviously, he's been injured. It's certainly taken a turn for the worse. But the stats were today: we were 19th, 19th, and 20th with the chances created against us. Goals, clean sheets, and one other, wasn't it? I mean, that's terrible, isn't it? And that was obviously shown again today.
Yeah, and it's not just the back four; it's the midfield three as well, because we're allowing teams to play through us in midfield as well, which puts massive pressure on our back four. I think collectively, if you look at the way we're organised, they're absolutely disorganised. You look at the centre halves, there's no communication, whether it's Varane, Maguire, Varane, Lindelof, Lindelof, Maguire, whoever it may be. It's not good enough. Luke Shaw looks a shell of the man that he was in the summer. Like in the Euros, he's probably, apart from Jorginho, probably the best player at the European Championships in the summer. Looks nowhere near it. Harry Maguire looks a shell of the man. He looks like Harry Maguire just playing for Sheffield United, not Manchester United, to be brutally honest about it. Like, you look at this whole whole defensive unit. We got like a set piece / defensive coach in Eric Ramsey in the summer. That was meant to be a massive improving stuff in terms of, defending set pieces and getting caught structurally. We've regressed. Like, we've regressed from last season. We're conceding the same goal every week. And like, how long more can you give these players time? This coaching staff time? Because if you're conceding the same goals that you're conceding every week, people say we don't have patterns to play. Yeah, most of the time going forward, it's all off the cuff. Fair enough. The way pattern I'm seeing is we're conceding the same type of goal every week, and I think that's a very big deficiency in terms of our coaching, that we're not rectifying that if that's happening on a week by week basis.
Yeah, listen, we can obviously try and pinpoint and blame whoever we want, but you're absolutely right. We have regressed. We've had a solid summer, one of the best we've had in years, and we haven't taken that opportunity and taken that forward. So surely the manager and the backroom staff need to take more responsibility in that. Fred, are you? What's your view on this situation? How does it? I mean, if he stays in the job, which I just can't see happening now, how does he pick these players up and go to the next game? We've got Atalanta next week, big game, their ground. Their away record isn't as good, and hopefully that means something. But how do you pick them up from here?
Yeah, I mean, you alluded to the stats that were shown mid-game in terms of like being 18th to 20th for most of the defensive inefficiencies. I mean, one of them was, I think, 20th for goal mistake, individual errors leading to goals. I think he has to make some big ballsy decisions and start dropping the players who just aren't performing. And Keane sort of mentioned we're conceding the same type of goal week in, week out, and from what I can see, so many of them are just coming from our left-hand side defensively. Shaw and Maguire. There's no coincidence that those two who progressed so far in the Euros, they're the two have gone from being arguably our two best defenders to our two worst defenders from last season to this season. So I think he's just got to try new players out. I mean, we've got Telles. Telles hasn't even had a run of games, much like Donny. Maybe we need to start giving these players who the fans have been crying out for minutes on the pitch. Eric Bailly signed a new contract. Sort of when our good run happened last season around Christmas, December, January, Bailly was at the forefront of that. He was fantastic defensively. He's got to change it. I mean, even I think someone mentioned about playing Sancho on the right. He has to do that. I mean, I'd like to see Greenwood's pressing stats. And when I say pressing, I don't mean like adopting a gegenpress system like Liverpool do, for example. There's got to be a minimum level of effort that these guys show on the pitch. Okay, you're not going to get that with Ronaldo. We know that, but Greenwood doesn't do it like Ronaldo. Sancho, I think actually on Monday Night Football, they showed that Sancho was our only attacker in the top 10 for pressing stats amongst the top teams. So you get that from him. You get a level of creativity, and he's probably going to sort of cater to Ronaldo's strengths. The other thing is our wide players are not dropping back. They're not doing their defensive work. The amount of times that Fred and McTominay are just exposed in the middle because of that.
And we've said this before, haven't we? The amount of stick we've given Maguire for not tracking back. Surely those other players are just as liable and need to be we need to go in on them for the same thing, right?
It's not just, it's all spread across the whole squad. I mean, De Gea has been our best player, probably our only good player. And if you look at when he won his, player of the seasons, that's when we were probably in our worst state. So look, I think Ollie's just got to make some big calls. He's got to change personnel. Obviously the guys that are there at the moment, they're either not fit or they're just not at it at the moment. Start playing, we've got Lingard, Telles, Bailly, Donny, Sancho. I mean, look, Sancho can't even get a game. I think most people thought the dream is front three would be Rashford, Ronaldo, Sancho. We've got too many people doing the same thing, and we are so imbalanced. We've got all the individual quality. We just need people that are going to run as well. I don't know what he's.
They're just not playing as a team, are they? We've got that individual brilliance, and that's been something we've spoken about for weeks. Jarvis was in agreement with you here. If Ollie is in charge against Spurs, he must change things up. On too many occasions now, he's stuck with what he knows, and I think he does need to be a little bit more brutal. Obviously, he dropped Pogba the other week, but that was for comments probably that he said. Maguire and Shaw haven't been good enough. Lindelof actually has been okay when I've seen him play. Maybe he should play alongside Bailly. And when Varane's back, maybe he should start next to him. Sancho, he was brought in to be played on the right. We haven't seen him enough on the right. We didn't see him at all today. Donny, still not been played enough. Lingard's been fantastic whenever I've seen him this season. Coming off the bench, maybe he deserves to come in. We have got all these players that can come in, and I think Ollie needs to really grab it by the scruff of the neck and maybe completely change the team. Not all 11. We've seen that be a problem before. I don't think that works. But really take some of those bigger sort of players out and see if other players can come in and really grab it by the scruff of the neck. Marcus, what would you do? What would you do to pick up this team now? Would you completely change it, or would you stay the same, stay safe like Ollie does, and potentially see worse to come?
I think it's very difficult for Ollie at the moment, because if he does play a blended team, right, like he doesn't drop all 11, but he drops like 6 or 5 players and then he keeps 4 or 5, that immediately sets a precedent in the dressing room that you are at fault for the results against Liverpool and this guy's not, because he's starting. And that is because of the precedent that was set before that certain players just don't get dropped. Maguire, I understand, is the captain of the club, so we can let the one slide, even though I personally don't believe being the captain makes you exempt from being dropped. Luke Shaw is somebody who hasn't really played well since the season has started. I think Taylor should get a run in the team just because of that. Marcus Rashford, one of my favorite players at the club, but I've been saying for weeks now that he cannot come back and walk straight back into this team. He's got to earn his place in the team, because now what it says to someone like Sancho, what it says to someone like Sancho, a £75 million signing, by the way, is that you're not important. As soon as this guy's fit, he's coming back into the team. So every time Sancho plays now, he has this pressure and this weight on him that he has to deliver something in a system that he doesn't even really understand, because we don't play anything like Dortmund. So it's difficult for Ollie. It really, really is. And I don't know where he goes from here, because it's almost anything he does, he's going to lose. He's going to get criticism. Anything he does, if he does stay in the job from now on, is going to be heavily scrutinized, more than it already has. I just don't know what he's going to do. I think the right thing...
Do you think this could be a turning point again? Do you think this could be a turning point again? I mean, last season we lost 6-1 against Spurs, and from that point, he did change it around. Players did step up, and that was a turning point. Could this be that now, or is it just too much?
I think the difference between then and now is, first of all, I think Spurs was our 3rd or 4th Premier League game that season, just before an international break. So everybody was like, oh, it's the beginning of the season, just a bad week, we go again. I think this time, because we've had the teams that we've had, Wolves, Sevilla, Atalanta, Young Boys, in the Premier League, Everton, Villa, these are teams that we should be beating. These are teams that when you get them in your first 10 fixtures, you're like, oh my God, right, we're getting into the title race then, because it's time now. We've actually been given a calendar that is suitable towards us getting an easy start. That's the difference this time. We've seen us be bad against small teams, and now we finally play not a half-decent team. Liverpool are a very good team at the moment. A good team, even though it wasn't their strongest team, and we get blown out the water. I just don't see how he can turn this around. I genuinely don't. And the result against Atalanta was amazing. I thought it showed some resilience. I was even starting to think, damn, Ollie might do it again. But today, I just can't see how he does it. I can't see how he does it. Honestly, he deserves a statue outside Old Trafford if he turns this around from this point, because I can't see it.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Listen, I'm gonna have to wrap up now. I need to sit back, watch it back again, try and sort some other shit that's going on in the social chat, and it's not a good day. Listen, thanks for all your comments today. I really appreciate those. And make sure you like and subscribe. Obviously, I've said this on the last few shows. It's massive for us. Appreciate all the comments, but we need those likes and subscriptions too. So please do that, boys. Again, I apologise as the host to bring you all under some shit circumstances. And I want to get you back on again, and hopefully this will be under more positive ones. But thanks very much for all your inputs, Drew, and excellent stuff, man. Thanks for coming on. Love to get you on again soon. Keen, wonderful to have you back, matey, and good to see you. And I hope next time we talk, it will be in a happier environment. Anyway, listen, thanks very much.
Mark, sorry, 1 second.
Go
Sorry,
on.
I just want to quickly jump in on a positive note because we're all going to be feeling shit right now. If you want some positivity, mine and Ben's show tomorrow, 6 o'clock. We have a Swansea fan and a Birmingham fan coming on to talk about Teeth Chong and Ethan Laird on their respective loan deals because 2 of our players are actually doing pretty well at the moment down in the Championship. So come along to that one because
perhaps we should recall them and put them into our fucking team.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's an argument for that. So it'll be good to hear, obviously, from their perspective, because we watch them as United fans. It'll be good to hear from an actual Swansea and Birmingham fan, you know, how have they improved the team? How are they doing? What's the feel around those players? So, yeah, definitely tune in for that one for a bit of more of a positive show tomorrow at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, great stuff. Make sure you come over to that. It's actually a very good show, actually. Really positive feedback from that and really well done. So I will be tuning into that. Make sure you do as well. Obviously, we've got Uncut. We'll have another review, which will be yours truly again after Atalanta. I know my record isn't very good at the minute, but hopefully that'll be a change again. But listen, yeah, thanks very much. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you all sleep well tonight and try not to get too angry, but we'll see how things unfold over the next few days. Thanks for all coming on, guys.